TWB, think with Bookmaps, baby. Let's get it. Live RyanMac. You don't know what you're missing, what you're waiting for. Live RyanMac. You don't know what you're missing, what you're waiting for. Alex, guys, you are trading on liquidity and order flow. You gotta know the flow. Live setups, bro, that's all you need. Pro insights, how you get them profits up. He ain't trying to be your mentor. He ain't trying to sell you a course. He's here to show you what you never see before. Once you get it, it's a cheat code. You don't know what you're missing, what you're waiting for. Live RyanMac. You don't know what you're missing, what you're waiting for. Why would I lie to you? 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 Bookmaps, 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 bookmaps. Welcome to Think with Bookmaps, where we trade futures in a blink with Bookmaps. And for that dough, you gotta think with Bookmaps. It's Bookmaps, it's Bookmaps, it's Bookmaps. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. That's right. Everybody's favorite community, the Think with Bookmaps, Think with Bookmaps, Think with Bookmaps community. It's the Think with Bookmaps, Think with Bookmaps, Think with Bookmaps community. Think with Bookmaps, Think with Bookmaps, Think with Bookmaps community. Think with Bookmaps, Think with Bookmaps, Think with Bookmaps community. Yeah, Think with Bookmaps community, man. It's the TWB community. It's the TWB community, man. Yeah, it's the TWB community. Welcome to Think with Bookmaps, where we trade futures in a blink with Bookmaps. And for that dough, you gotta think with Bookmaps. It's Bookmaps, it's Bookmaps, it's Bookmaps. All these guys are saying, where the females at, man? I'm saying, bro, what are you on about, man? I'm trying to trade futures in here, bro. We trade futures, man. This is futures trading. If you wanna go find a girlfriend, then go on Tinder, bro. Go on Tinder, go on Hinge. Go on some other app, bro. We trade futures in here. Think with...
Hello, welcome, good evening. Hope everybody's trading day was green, regular trading hours. What a dump, huh? And then we pop right back up, and what it is, right? Let's see what we got going on today. Trade like snipe, welcome. All right. Well, we came down to 25,575. We never came down and filled 25,538.50 on the Macdicator. Kind of figured that we would come up to these 760, 770, or 766-ish. We do have a regular trading day pivot there, 25,726. We'll see more here in a couple minutes, give or take about 2.5, 3 minutes, which way this thing wants to go. I'm going to put a poll up in the chat. For you guys. Let's see. see if we get that poll going for you. Can everybody hear me okay? Test 1, 2, 3. We good to go? Good, 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 good. If you're looking for a prop firm, we got 90% off the one step and statics at Elite Trader Funding. Use code RMTWB if you need the link. You know, you can type ETF in the chat. Tonight I am trading a Lucid account, 50K. Hopefully I'm able to make something of it. All right. All right. Gap up to dump. Yeah, we're open. Should get an opening bell. Ding, ding, ding. What's up, silly thing? How's it going? How are you tonight?
I do not care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. No, stop and care.
It's cold. Hate winter. The silly thing. You know, I agree. I cannot disagree with that comment because I agree. It is cold. It is cold. Well, let's see. 4 minutes into the market, and it looks like we came down, gave us a looking tombstone looking candle, and came right back up. Oh, that might be a butterfly or a dragonfly. Right back up to 715. Here we go. Pumping to the moon. We got some liquidity up there at 750. Can we go for another 20 points? 30 actually. I want to try to get into this long. Could be psyching us out because we just put up 13 resting orders above us. I want to go long right here at 25 715.
Stock food.
Hello, Tracy. All right, I'm long. 25 7 1750. See if she wants to hold up there. Hmm. Oh, it's changing direction on me. Couldn't stay up there. Wow.
Stop filled.
Well, that was fast. Hit my stop loss. Pushed me out of that one. And of course, it bounces right back up.
Stop filled. Order filled.
Oh, just nice 5-minute dump off there from the top. Okay. Back to 700. We can go lower. All right, let's see. Economic calendar tonight. Let's look at that real quick. Let's go over that. If none of you know what's going on, we do have a red folder event for Australia, NAB Business Confidence at 6:30 p.m. and then at 9:30 p.m. we have Australia's RBA interest rate decision. So they should come across as movers in the market. I think that it'll do some significant movement when we get that announced. Current time is 6:12 on the eastern seaboard. Nando Real, the NQ to 25,660. Thinking it's gonna go down. A lot of bullish traders in here today, according to the poll. See how it responds after this pivot here. Drew a support resistance line at 25,696 during regular trading hours. Now we have that moved up a little bit to back to this pivot, and then we can undo that. Let's check this price here. Shouldn't have deleted it, but we're gonna check this price. It's 25,689.25, which is below this the P pivot on the NASDAQ. I'm gonna draw another support line here as we're coming down. We can possibly test at 25,680.75, and then you do have a gap at the low, and the 200 EMA is being pulled up as we speak, even though price is dropping to it. Definitely like to see this support here kind of come into play. So all right, let's do a quick shout out to you out there. We got Trade Like Snipe. Silly thing. I want to say it right, but it's Nandor Real. TWB bot, Tracy, top 5 fans. Thanks for joining me today in the live stream. For those of you who are joining me, I am RyanMac. I'm the co-host from the NQ Bookmaps, now on my live channel. So thank you for all the support. Much appreciated. We got 2 events happening today on the red folder. There is a little bit more news, but it shouldn't be as significant. Tomorrow we have balance of trade for Germany at about 1 a.m. And then we have jolts in the morning tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So that is going to be a market mover. So we are probably going to do something here tonight for that. So hopefully it's not as bad of a dump or pump. And those of you who are short right now and got in short up here at 719, that's a good hold. And Captain Price is saying, I just want to say RAM price is up 400% since August, and there's no inflation at all. Micron stock only up 124 since August, 24% since August. I'll sneeze. Oh man, had to sneeze real bad. Since going to AI route and not making RAM for consumer PCs. Okay. Check out Lucid Trading. They got 35% off their evals right now on the Pro and the Flex, and any other evals 30%. Lucid Trading. DDR5 prices. Let's look at gold. Should we look at gold? Let's look at what gold's doing. Whoa. What'd it do? It dumped. Dumped today. And then kind of has been in this range for a minute. Let's look at the ES. ES dumped off today as well. Nice downtrend. Sheesh. Almost 60 points on the ES today. Significant. Bullish trend pull back according to Captain Price, and no shorts allowed. Well, shorts should have been out at 590. Should have been. Price is always moving. It is always moving. Nice little move up the top there. Good 26 points. Right to the pivot. Let's see if we reject that 20 EMA and go lower. If not, we're going right back up to 709, 708, 709, 25. What's up, brown and yellow? How are you doing today? Hope you had a green day. Anybody in a trade? Define green. Well, I guess I should have said profitable trade. Because the market was bloody. Hey, short it. You should short it. You're still green. Right? Profitable day. Market was not yeah, you're right. The market was rough today for some. Came out okay, but the journey was rough. Fair enough. Mental cap is spent. That's important to keep up. That is important to maintain also, because it's tough. It's tough to keep the mental cap going. I think we test lower, guys and gals. I think we test lower. Too many break-even revenge trades. You start looking at the market where it's like moving a particular direction. You get in that direction and it comes back and wicks you out and then continues in the direction it was originally going. That makes sense. Oh man, that makes sense. That's when you know the cap is blown, you know. Ideally the mental cap is really spent. You know, that's how do we question I like to ask myself is how do we prepare for that thought process while we're trading? For some of you in here probably work a full-time job. Some of you probably are full-time traders, and you do have a mental cap. It is everybody has one. Everybody was designed, created, or actually, let's say groomed in a way from childhood up, and they have that mental cap on your head. And you don't know it, and probably never been pointed out to it. So the question is what is that number? You know, is a lot of money $2,000, or is a lot of money $500, or are they both a lot of money? And that's where your mental capacity is stored. You know, and really ultimately understanding that we look at a $1 trillion market. We're looking at a $1 trillion market. And sometimes it's this market, trading this market, I've read it is a rich man's game. Why is it a rich man's game? Now you bring statistics into the mix. In statistics, they teach you to question everything. Right? So why is it that market makers, anyone who writes a market book, would say that trading is a rich man's game? Because making $100 or $200 a day is good for consistency, but losing $200 a day is easy and more consistent. And if you don't have a relationship with P&L and you get into a trade and you're watching it go up and it backs off in 30 seconds back to your price, and then it stops at your price, takes your break even, and then continues in the direction that you're originally going, well, then that just ruins your mental capacity, because you just made all that money to lose all that money to break even in that very short period of time. So when it really comes down to it, is that can you make $2,000 in this market pretty simply? Yes. Can you handle the drawdown that comes with me trying to make $2,000? Not always. And that's why a lot of people, when they come to the market, they think, well, okay, if I lose $500, then that's my trade plan. And they actually get into the trade and they start sweating when it's negative 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, 500, smack, stop loss activated. And then of course you walk away feeling like your identity went with that stop loss. No, I mean, you tell me, you guys trade too. So when you and the thing is that then of course that $500 the other way would have been great, right? If you would have just picked the other way. Oh, if I would have just went short, if I would have just went long. Or when you have those minutes that whip up and get you out and your stop loss and then come back. And I understand that everybody trades minis. I understand that. If Buffett gave you stock tips. So even if Buffett gave us stock tips, as a trader, we all want to get into a move simply, easily, and effortlessly. And we want to be that lazy, easy money making situation. We want to just read somebody's call out, get into it, hope they're right, and take the trade. And we can't do that as traders. We can't. Because then, of course, if we did take the call out, we did lose money on it, we would be put on mental tilt. And the idea of a lot of money is in the eye of the beholder. Because making $2,000 in this market doesn't take much. But the stress that you put yourself under to hold for that long takes a lot. All right, we're dumping off here. We just broke that pivot here. Now we just need to close and stay below, or is it look below and pump? I don't know. We'll see. See if they want to fill those 13 contracts resting there. 692. Hmm. If you look at this, the Bookmap here, right here at 692. If you look at my mouse, on the right hand side, we had 13 resting contracts there at 690-ish, 691, 692. Stop trying to cheer me up, Paul. Well, I'm glad that I'm cheering you up. I'm supposed to provide something for you, right? You're watching the stream. I hope that I cheer you up. I hope you can laugh and have a good time when you come into the live Alex TWB RyanMac show. What about what I said cheered you up? It can be exhausting, Paul. It is exhausting. Trading is exhausting. I mean, again, let me reiterate. What do we as people encourage in the real world? Go to work, get a job, go to work, 9 to 5. Spend your hard-earned hours, your hard-earned time, or your time, blood, sweat, tears, life, doing it 40 hours a week. That's what we're taught, right? That's why we grow up, right?
Dad, what's this?
Okay, that's natural. That's what my parents, their parents, every parent has been taught since the beginning of time, or when there was work to be made. So again, right? That's what we were learned. That's what we were taught. If you don't work 40 hours a week, you're gambling, you're you're lazy, or you're a thief. Right? If you don't work 40 hours a week, any respectable man would have a job. Have you heard that before? But you tell somebody you trade, oh, you gamble. Everything else is a con job, a gig, temporary, not consistent. You know, it's and then you're not only dealing with that thought process of people that you tell that you trade for a living, but you're also dealing with a lot of other things that come with the rules of a prop firm or your cash account, you know, and your rules, your own rules. You know, it's life taking a big old pecker and smacking you in the head with it, ultimately squishing you with it. And that's just it. You know, and then of course at the same time, you know, you deal with all the regular ideas. If you have money, you're evil, you're stealing from people. That's normal. That's so normal. Why is it normal? Because 95% of the nation works 9 to 5. What's up, 60 hour? So that's a normal setup. I'll say it all the time. So now that you've done that, now you've put your blood, sweat, tears, time into they like to say a career, and you go to work, you're happy driving your car to work, right? You're driving your car to work. You spend an hour in traffic yelling at the fool next to you, the fool behind you, the guy cutting you off, the biker doing whatever. Okay, the reason why COVID was invented, okay, we could that's a theory in itself, but COVID was invented, I'll say it this way, was so we could go electronic, Paul. So we can build off that thought process of people making money from home. Offices were sent home, work from your computer. And they say do it. And if you don't do it, well, so we got 25,705 here. We want to see what we do with the VWAP. Macdicator's showing a VWAP possible touch. We'll see if it hits 706.75 or wants to continue higher. Fail. So yeah, that's it. Like, and then what's a lot of money? It's whatever your dad, your mom told you what you believe is a lot of money. Everybody's idea of a lot of money is different. And then when you say, well, this is not a lot of money to me, but this is a lot of money to me. Some people will say, well, you're a lot of money to not a lot of money to you is a lot of money. And it's like, well, why? Because of not what it is that you think you have to do for that not a lot of money, but it's what they think they have to do for that much money. And that's everybody. That's everybody. How much does it take anyone in this room to make a lot of money? That their thought process is a lot of money. How many years? How much time? How much time do you got to exchange for X amount of dollars? Will make it think that, well, that is a lot of money. Because really, ultimately, you have to exchange your time for it, or you have to sell a product for that amount of money, whatever that is in your mind. So a real unbiased approach to it. Yeah, we're still under VWAP on the Macdicator. We rejected it as well. So now for this market to move this many points in a short period of time, we would say is a lot of money. 15 points, that's a lot of money. With one contract, 15 contracts, 10 contracts, shoot, you could pass a couple evals with that move. Just buy the pivot to the VWAP. So it's your idea of a lot of money. Is it truly a lot of money? That's the question that you can ask yourself. You know, and how to make that kind of money is hard work. If you're trading in the market, it's hard work, guys. Hard work. Okay, in order for you, and then of course the old traders would tell the new traders, well, you got to sit in front of the charts for days, hours, weeks, years before you can even say that you know the market. You can't say you know the market. You never know the market because the market is always constantly changing with different amounts of money. So to be proud that you know the market, whether you call the top or call the bottom, it's not necessarily mean that you're an excellent analyst. It could only mean that you're setting yourself up for a greater loss, or the idea of your ego getting in the way of that. So psychology is just very important to keep cultivated. Trading is get in the market, get out of the market, walk away from the market, find something else to do. But we're so freaking fascinated by the fluctuation of price, and the dopamine that gets released is unreal. I mean, I bet you all of us in here can raise our hands and say, hey, we've had rough days, expensive days in our own thought processes. But then when you go hang out with a Wall Street broker, or you hang out with a Wall Street trader, and you start talking about $1,000 or $2,000 loss, they're gonna laugh at you. They're gonna giggle and they're gonna go, "You think that's a lot of money? $10? That's all $1,000 is $10 on the market. $10 is a night out. Couldn't spend less than $10. They have a whole different verbiage of speaking in dollars. $100, 10, it's a dollar. When you start thinking of, if I said, okay, $2,000 is worth the equivalent of $20 on a market contract option call or put, $20, that's the equivalent. Now it's not that much, is it? And in fact, they move that kind of money around so much, they get so used to saying, if you go ask somebody for a deal on Wall Street and you say, hey, I want to spend $20, they're going to be like, that's it? 2 G's? If you tell them, oh, I want to spend $2,000, to you thinking that's a lot of money, they're going to go, that's only $20 in our world. That too, they trade with other people's money, and they're getting paid commissions to trade with other people's money, and that's where it's at. Be the broker. So when you come to the market with your prop firms or your cash accounts, in your trade plan, I have this to ask you. Do you have, to you, in your mind, have you sized down the goal, the profit goal for your idea? And would you know how to do that? Do I have to have a degree to trade with them? I don't know. I don't trade with them. I know that prop firms, you don't have to have a degree to trade live with them. Rejecting the VWAP again. On the Macdicator, we'll see if we continue up. I don't know. I know for prop firms, you don't need a degree to trade live. You just need to have patience. Just have patience. You know, patience is the hardest thing you can have in this market. You can't pay for patience. There are some people you can't pay for them to be patient. They gotta always be doing something. If you can't sit in front of this chart and wait for the levels, and you read the candles and read the chart for an hour before you get into the market, because when market opens, you're like, oh, I want to go long, and then get blown by price moving further lower than what you hoped, and then just to come back to check it. You need to have patience. So degree, it tells them that you were patient enough throughout life to stick it out 4 years at the least to get your degree. So would you hire somebody with a degree to trade your funds, your clients' funds at that? You don't need a degree. But currently, right now, we're looking at about 7:48 on the Eastern Seaboard, and I typically like to come up here for about an hour and sit with you guys and take a couple trades and watch the Globex open. I did take one trade, didn't do well on it, and that's okay. I'm still sitting here. still reading the charts, bringing my mind back to zero so I can get into another trade. Steve, do you ever hold like a 2 micro trade until it hits your target, even if it goes against for a long time? You have that issue. Steve, they call that marrying the trade. You married the trade. In other words, somewhere along in your personal thought process of life, when you make a decision to do something, you hold on to it forever. There's nothing wrong with that until it wrongs you. And if you feel that getting into the market to hold it for a long period of time, even if it goes against you until, well, you're blowing your account, because you can blow an account on 2 micros. Any risk in the market, you can blow your account. 1 micro. It'd take a little while, but when are you going to tell yourself to divorce the idea? Let it go. Drop the idea. Don't hold on to it no more. If you got in long up here in 1 micro, when are you going to just say, finally accept your thought process was wrong? That's the question I have for you, Steve. You don't need to answer that. But when are you going to accept that it's wrong? Up here? Down here? Right here? When are you going to accept that? Right here? Right here? Right here? The beautiful thing about market going up is it, for the most part, comes back. But maybe not today, maybe not next week, maybe not a month from now. But you have to learn how to accept, Steve, that the direction that you decided to go and hold at some point in time is just wrong. And then reset your thinking back to square one. You know, just, and if that at least you can recognize that issue. At least you can. Some traders can't even recognize it. And really, ultimately, it has a mixture of things of ego, the having to be right, and just marrying the trade. You made that decision. That's all you want to hold. That's all you want to do. That's it. You know, that's it, man. Like, really, honestly, that's it. That's your trade. That's your baby. Protect it, right? Loss, win or lose, and you'd make a great husband for a woman out there. I'm just saying, because you'll hold on to her if it's doing you wrong until she can't do any more wrong. When is it you call it quits and say, this is the market, this is the trade, this is the situation? You know, you're not dating it. You're not bringing it home to mom and dad. Certainly, if you're married, you're not, you know, you don't want to tell your wife that, hey, I took a trade and it's still in it. Oh, yeah, and how you doing on it? Yeah, I'm down $2,000. You're what? you're down $2,000. Well, how big was the trade? It was like a tenth of what it could be, which is $2 a point. 1 micro, 2 micros. Nah, man. You need to go back to the days, if you are married with trading, you need to go back to the days where the dating scene was like getting on a bus, getting off a bus. Short bus, long bus, doesn't matter what kind of bus, any bus, get off of it. Do not ride that thing all the way down, because markets can drop and not come back for a while. And you sit there and go, oh, I can dollar cost average. You can dollar cost average into a trade like that. In fact, institutional traders, you can do that. Right, Steve? Absolutely. Now, the better question is that like the tools you use, you can marry. But if the tools you use are not working, then get rid of them too. You know, you can grow some sort of attachment to. For me, I married the 5, 9, 20, 200 EMAs. I married the VWAP, the pivots, and the Gapdicator. It's the gap indicator, because I wrote it. It works. These gaps right here are from my indicator, the Macdicator. We got 7 days free if you're interested in it. But still, like, marry the indicators, marry the MACD, marry the Fibonacci retracement, trend Fibonacci, you know, marry a structure in the market like this, higher low, higher high. Marry a structure to trade. Don't marry the trade itself. And yeah, allow it to breathe a little bit, but don't give it too much breathing room where it takes advantage of you, where you give it an inch and it takes a freaking an account, you know? You can ask me right here in person. I'm the one who wrote it. I'm here, right here, live with you in color. Discord, actually, I do stream in Discord. You can hit me up on the Discord, which we connect you to the Discord immediately if you decide to get the indicator, and I am the support for understanding and showing. And this is where I'm showing the indicator right now. So it's like these gaps right here, and I'll zoom in for you, are support for this price to an extent. At some point, we could bounce off the VWAP here, this gap. We can bounce off this gap or fill this gap and continue lower. Or we can go get this gap or get this gap. But it's really essentially not, and the thing is I found myself when I had it, I married the 9 EMA and everything. So it's like, sometimes they don't work. Sometimes price will blow right through it. But at least I knew they were there. At least I knew I can watch how price reacts with them. Now we can like literally come up to this price. This is what we could do. We can come up to this price. We can do one of these, right? Come get this, come right back down, right? And then we could even come up to get this gap later. Seen it multiple times. It just goes up and goes down and then comes and get it, and then we dump. So what I'm saying is that I know that these gaps, these price gaps that are created in the market, they are support resistance for this market, and they pivot off of them. And I can go back in time and show you. Like, for instance, it didn't change the direction entirely, but when we hit this pivot, or this gap here, this line here, 25.6, 27.75, we bounced. And you know what? We bounced all the way back up 38 points. That's a great scalp. So you watch price action and Bookmap to indicate you which gap is going to hit first, correct? Yeah. Yeah, that's right, Steve. Absolutely. And sometimes we'll go fill a gap below to go higher. Like this one right now. But I mean, the 5 EMA support, the 9 EMA support, the 20 EMA support, the VWAP obviously is volume weighted average price. And then we have the pivots, which are support, below price. Everything above is resistance. Then I look left to draw out where this thing could reverse. And I know that right now, when we hit this top, or right around this top area, we'll go to the first one. When we do get into this price, we'll probably get all the way back up to 25,778.50. But we could reverse right here at 25,766. We could. But every time it touched these gaps, and for the Macdicator you can use for technical analysis, we come right back up. We bounced and rejected. Now, of course, you know, a scalp would be ideal, but if you're only trading for, wow, that's a 40.1 minute candle. Excuse me. Boom. We bounced right off of it, and then we filled it to the downside. But we went and filled that gap. And we broke all those and came down to here and bounced, came back up to test this gap, test this support, resistance, turned it into resistance and went lower. And then we even filled this gap down here. Right there, and we bounced all the way back up, and we channeled there for a while and then came down. We do have 2 indicators. We have the Gapdicator and the Macdicator. So if you already use a bunch of indicators and have a spot for the Gapdicator, it's $9.99. You get 7 days for free. And the Macdicator is $25 a month. And the Gapdicator is $9.99. So the Gapdicator is nice too, because all it does is just show you the gaps, no technical analysis. Oh, there's a runtime error. Let's see. It don't really allow me to put more than one indicator. I wonder. Oh, hold on. All right, and the Gapdicator doesn't have any technical analysis. And it has a wick indicator, so for balance, and volume imbalance indicator for, but you would turn those off. You can turn them off. So the Gapdicator is just simple. For those, I want to trade for a little bit, know where the levels are. Like here's a continuation gap and a reversal gap. So there are 2 different types of gaps, bullish and bearish. This is reversal, this is continuation and continuation. So reversal had enough volume and price action to reverse price after a bearish candle, and continuation is green to green or red to red. And the 2-tick reversal gap to go up is red to green, and to go down is green to red. So we were going down, then we turned around and went up. So this could be a bounce here, but it does give you that kind of data on that. But I like to use a Macdicator because it shows more data. All right, so we're crossing to the downside on the MACD. and it's currently 8:03 on the Eastern Seaboard. So, but look, outside of that, Steve, one thing I can suggest to you is maybe practice on a demo account and get into a trade and practice getting out of it. Come to the market with a different mindset. When you sit at your desk, think of it as like, okay, don't marry this trade, but allow it to breathe, okay? Allow it to breathe in your plan. And that's where you have a stop loss. And then at that point in time, my question to you is take your 9 to 5, if you have one, or your salary position, or however it is you get paid, and calculate it to what you get paid a day. And then go from that point on and say, okay, I'm only willing to lose as much as money as I make in a day on the market. And put your stop loss there. Because honestly, if you start making more money than you make in a day, you will blow your mental cap. You will have issues with the mind and money forever, or until you finally get that back together and puzzle it back together. Okay, no indicator is the golden indicator. There's no way we could ever figure out that Trump's gonna tweet something in 10 minutes that's gonna blow this market to sky high or to, you know, the ground. And same thing with any other institution that's able to trade this market with size. There's no way. But what you can do is accept a loss. And maybe that acceptance might be your daily income. It might be your weekly income. It might be even, it could be even if you have a big enough account, your yearly income. But the thing is that give yourself enough space to breathe. And depending on the size you like to use, then you calculate it from X amount of micros times $2 times equals 1 point. And then you divide that amount, whatever that is, divide it by what you want to lose. Trade to make money back is like saying I want to win my girlfriend back. Trade to make new ones. David doesn't want to lose. That's fine. Get out at break even. And a 95% of your trades will be break even. Why? Because the market comes back to test that price and you will be break even, market capped out. I mean, if you entered here at 716, you just broke even. You're done. Trade done. Yeah, sometimes making $100 is hard because clicking that other direction, you know, and then how are you making decisions on taking your trade is another thing too. Are you asking yourself the right questions? I know for sure I don't get down on one knee to marry somebody unless I know. And David, for David, it's about getting out at levels. And you have to find that edge in your own trading to do that. And you will experience that. And that's where you will have to have a little bit more chart time. You will have to have a little bit more, you know, edge. And that comes with time. And then, of course, it's like surfing. You don't get up and stand up on the board the first time without being pushed into the wave. Or it's like you're testing out the level and you're waiting patiently for the right entry, and then how much are you willing to lose on that entry, and how much are you willing to, how many contracts are you willing to get in on at that entry? Or are you trying to build a position where you get in at 1 micro, you get in at another 2 micros and build your position to where you can hold for 200-300 points if you feel like the levels are going to change? And of course, as you become more versed in reading the histogram, you know, and then sometimes it's like, when do you recognize that the market is turning on your position so you could get out at break even? That's another thing too. That's on the fly. You entered the market, it gave you a positive P&L, you're sitting there and you're like, yes, 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 and then something automatically comes across the indicators and you're like, oh, this thing's gonna dump, or this thing's gonna pump and I'm short, and this thing's gonna dump and I'm long. How do I get out of it? Do I save my trade? Looking for that opportunity and still trying to be hopeful that it's going to continue in the direction that you wanted it to go. Bull flag. You know, and that's where reading the charts, understanding deltas, understanding indicators, that's going to help you, understanding support and resistance. You know, you can have trailing stops, absolutely. But a trailing stop won't make you 10 grand a month, or a trade even, unless it's just dumping, and markets don't move in straight up or straight down directions for very long. It's choosing just to get out. And then if you leave a runner, you know, then you're really in the market still. You know, you don't get out of the market until you get out of the market. Once you're flat, you're in that trade. But if you leave one trade running, you can blow an account with one trade running. Like, I would love to be a Wall Street trader. Are you kidding me? I'm not even, like, I don't even know the size they put on, the drawdown that they deal with, and someone other people's money. I'd love to make $500,000 in one trade in a day. That'd be awesome. It'd be fun. It would be exhilarating and interesting. Mental capital is where you think, you know, you think what you think is a lot of money. Sorry, tell you what, your 6 figures that you earn a year to these Wall Street traders is something to be laughed at. They're at the bar dropping $150 a night, which is about 15 grand. But that's how you would say it. You know, that's how you would talk. If you say, oh, 15 grand, they're thinking 1.5 million? No. No. $15 grand is what? You know, $1,000 is $10. So $150. You start talking to a Wall Street trader like that, and if they don't know that you work at Wall Street, or if you tell them you work down the hall, okay, yeah, you know what $15 is. You know what $1,500 is. You know what that talk. It's no different than learning Latin to be a nurse, or learning a different language to learn Spanish. You know, market makers, they have their own language when it comes to money. When we say $1 out here, when we say $100 out here in the 95% world, we mean $100. We're poor. When we say $100 in the financial world of the marketplace down on New York Wall Street, we're meaning like 10 grand. Okay, that's the difference. Okay, that's the difference. You have to mentally capacitate down. When we say $100, we mean $100 because we're just retail traders out here. But when they say $100, they mean 10 times 10 is 10 grand. $100. Make $50, that's 5 G's. Even less sometimes. They even dumb it down to be like a nickel's 5 G's. A nickel. How much is that? A nickel? 5 grand. Now change your thinking of what $10 is in the market. When you come to the market, $10, $1,000. That's the way it is. Buy an options contract for $10. You're dropping $1,000 on it. So why not talk like it? Starts right here, right in the mind, what you think. That's why they say risk reward. What is the risk reward on the trade? Because you might get into a trade that might have been the right trade for 50 points, 2 micros, no problem. It's $200. Yeah. But that might have been the bottom of the pullback before it went 100 points. See, you guys are dropping numbers here that revenue per minute. That's real. That's real. Captain Price said annual revenue of $146.01 billion. Okay. And then, of course, Jamie Dimon said JP Morgan, JPM, moves around $16 trillion every day. 16 trillion? I want the commissions off that just alone, personally. $16 trillion. And you guys want to sit here and say whatever thought process in your mind is a lot of money. 16 trillion. You can't comprehend 16T. For the most part. 16T. Golly. And I'm not sitting here to condemn you, but I'm sitting here saying, well, I can't comprehend 16T. I'm still trying to comprehend $2,000, $3,000 wins in the market on futures with 4 minis and 37 points. You know, I mean, 16T. I couldn't even possibly read the number as I'm in the trade with moving around that kind of money. You even know that kind of money per point? So you just gotta kind of do that. Now, of course, please understand that that's like cut up into 100 billion different ways, literally. But where is the concept of your mental capacity at? And you need to evaluate that when you could bring it to the when you sit at the table to take a trade as this thing dumps off to VWAP. And of course, it probably could still go long because we made a higher high in the session. Now, on the bigger time frames, we're still in a bear flag. So if we don't bounce off the VWAP, we do have 2 gaps below that we could fill. But I'm going to say that the VWAP is a definite magnet to come back to. And it is a little bit lower on the book maps. So outside of that, all I got to say with that is that like you're doing the right things. You know how to get in the market. You know what an uptrend is. You know what a downtrend is. You know market structure. You know what a head and shoulders is. You know how to read a Fibonacci retracement, a fib trend extension. You understand how to draw on the market. You understand all those things. We're at that point, ladies and gentlemen, where now you're trying to understand yourself. And if you are new to trading, then, you know, continue to trade, because sooner or later you'll make that $40,000 trade. Sooner or later, you'll have that kind of a capital if you're trading options, futures, whatever, you'll get there. It's very doable in prop firms with discipline. It's very doable in prop firms, but it's very hard for you to go from a cash account to a prop, back to a prop. They're talking about it today in Rocket Scooter. How hard it is for somebody who goes from a cash account back to a prop. I'm trying to get back into props, and I can't seem to get there. I can pass evals, no problem. Easy peasy. But I can't stay consistent for 6 to 8 days. Are you kidding me? Anymore. I use prop firms to get into a cash. Now I'm trying to get out of a cash and going back into a prop. It's funny, right, Lauren? It's true. It's God-given truth, man. These rules and the rules that I've had to break, that I do break in a cash account, oof, no. Get it. You know, you got consistency, you got all these things. Not to add, you got to buy the right size account. Not to add, you know, and then it's like, okay, fine. Sure, I can buy the 150Ks and pass them. I can pass them. Tomorrow night I actually am able to pass. Let's see. I got tonight was day number 4 for Elite Trader funding 150K. So this regular trading hours was my 3rd day, and then tonight is my 4th day. So tomorrow after hours will be my 5th day, and then I pass. Nobody trades a funded like that. Correct. So now I have a Elite Trader funding account that's passed 150K financially. I got to 9 grand. I'm already done. Now I'm flipping contracts for like 4 days. What a waste of time. What a waste of time. Well, I got to spend 4 days just flipping a contract just to get into a funded account. Just a hair too much. Lauren Mills. I mean, just a hair too much. And then of course you want to go try to lose money, and that's when you make money. Reverse psychology. Go try it. Intentionally try to lose money. No, exactly. I'm not saying that you are going to lose money on purpose, but there are people in here who like that idea when they can make too much money. But intentionally try to lose money, you'll make money. You're not trying to lose money on purpose when you get into a trade to make money, but every time that I try to lose money on purpose, I make money. It's weird. Weird psychology, isn't it? Some very unusual psychology. Try to blow an account. Just buy one to just try to blow it. Rather than make the money, if you go into it, you'll probably beat it for the first time. You know, for more experienced traders like myself or Lauren Mills here, we've been trading for over 5 years plus. A little different. Passing evals, we figured them out. But as a new trader, go buy an eval. Who cares what it is? 25K, 50K, go buy an eval, degen on it. Even if it's Elite Trader funding, they got 90% off right now, 19 bucks. Go degen on it. Try to lose it. Try to lose the money. But try to make the money, you'll lose it. Very weird psychology, isn't it? You know, use RMTWB if you do try that. That's right. It is easy to put on big risk on shit setups and make money when it doesn't matter. But that's what you bring to you with you in your idea of trading. Now you have this idea that, oh man, if I just go big in some crap setup, I might make money, or you know, and I might get lucky. And then you're in the hopeful stage every time you do it if you won. You want calculated entries, you want calculated X's, and you want calculated wins. Yeah, absolutely. And they burn up your mental capital 100% of the time. Lauren, I agree with that. Lauren's chatting with me here. Exactly. Evals are a complete waste of time. That's why I like Lucid trading as well, because Lucid actually passes you one day to pass, and you don't need to wait until the next trading day for it to become a sim funded, and you can actually trade it that night as well if you pass it in that same day. You know, but when you sit there and you get in a trade and you're like, man, this is going up, it's going down, it's on my break even, and then you just might as well take the trade at break even. It's because your mental capacity is burnt up. You need to walk away from the chart. So this week I'm going to be picking up a 150k Lucid account. I realized that I'm using too small of a caliber gun on the evals, and moving forward I'll be trading out of 150k. I trade too big of size. And again, I was talking about this the other day too. You know, when you go hunting, okay, or say for those of you on a scope, when you're pulling a trailer, let's just use that analogy for those of you that, yeah, when you're pulling a trailer, you don't put a Toyota Tercel or a Toyota, let's talk about Toyota Corolla to pull a 16-foot trailer. You just don't. That's just not going to work. Sorry. A 16-foot trailer, you're not going to pull any of that with a Toyota Corolla. So if the vehicle that you're in is too small for the leverage that you like to put on, aka the prop firm that you're buying, and we talked about this, yep, in the Discord. Now I'm bringing it to the YouTube. But if you tie a Toyota Corolla to you know the vehicle, so if you tie a 50k account or a 25k account to the size of your mental cap, you'll blow the account every time. Okay? Because in essence, you're taking a Toyota Corolla, which is the prop firm, and pulling a 16-foot trailer, which is your size. Could be for 50k, it's 4 minis, right? The drawdown's 2 Gs. You have daily loss limit. You have all these things that a prop firm puts on you in that trailer. No different than shooting a 22 at a deer. You're not going to drop it unless you take a couple shots at it. You know, it's just not going to work. For those of you hunters, to take that analogy of a 22 rifle isn't going to bring down a deer unless you hit it right in the heart, which at 30 yards, you probably won't get it right in the heart, even with the best scope, because that thing is probably moving and maybe there isn't enough of it. You just harm the animal, and if you just nick an artery, you're going to let it suffer until it's, you know, for the rest of the night, forever, until it finally kills over. So at least the Toyota Corolla, we could talk about that. That's the prop firm, the vehicle you're using to make the trades. What's going to happen to that chassis? Well, it doesn't have one. It's a unibody, so it's all together. So when you pull in that 16-foot, your car is going to fall apart. That motor is going to burn up. You're going to be high reveling in a Toyota Corolla pulling a trailer, which essentially is going to break you down anyway. So in terms of a prop firm, you got to buy the right prop firm size that your mental capacity can handle. The size trade that you're taking, the size of the win that you're looking for, everything. Because on a leverage scale, 2 minis, 3 minis is massive. Massive. Like it's so massive that you can't comprehend what that would be like. And that's the best analogy I could put it. It's a Toyota Corolla pulling a 16-foot trailer with a Bobcat in it. You need a 1-ton truck to pull that. At least, and you can pull it with a 1/4 ton. You can pull it with a 1/2 ton. It's not going to be as, you got to have the right proper motor, the proper brakes to stop it, everything else. So really, essentially, it's like when you come to the market, it might be beneficial to get 150K if you like using minis. If you're using 1 mini, 2 mini, 3 minis. Some people don't have that mental. If you get into 150K and you realize that trying to get to $9,000 profit target's harder than you thought it could be, size down to the 100K. And if the 150K is not enough, go to 300K, go to 250K. You know, you got to use the right caliber. You don't take a 22 pistol to an elk. Take a 7mm rifle. You know, that's the concept. That's the idea. Make sure you're putting on the proper, because then if you don't, and let me tell you this, I'm okay with it. Buy 150Ks, go for it. But if you're not mentally capacitated, mentally set up to handle that mentally, for win-loss, win-loss ratio, everything else involved in what comes with having to pass 150,000K account, if you're not there, then at the same time you're shooting too big of a game. Your truck is too big for the trailer that you're trying to pull. So you got to size up what you're trying to do with it, and you'll blow every 50K account because you can't handle the 4 or 5 micros that you need to put on for a 50K. And even 4 or 5 micros for a 50K is too much. You need like 3. You know, $100,000 cash account, easy. Put on 1 mini, put on 2 minis, put on 3 minis if you want. 4 minis, 5. 5 is not a bad number to take on for minis in a $100,000 account. Cash account. But on a prop firm, you need to use the right size prop. And a lot of people are like, oh, just spend 50K, you get $100, boom, boom, boom. Go ahead, use RMTWB when you keep buying them. I'm going to teach you something here for just a mental thought process of when you go to buy a prop firm, so you don't necessarily blow it in the same day that you bought it. Buy the right size. Use a bear trap when you go hunting. All right, he's okay. Kid was coming down the stairs, tripped over himself. Yeah, that's another thing, Laura Mills. You got to make sure that you read the rules. Read the freaking rules, okay? You don't go get a job at your job, a 9 to 5, and know what you always. You got to know how you get paid, how to do your job, what's required of you to do your job to get paid. Right? Same concept. Make sure you read your rules before you even buy it. You know, test out every account. That's right, QQQ trader. Got a lot of kids. Making my own hedge fund, okay? Yes, absolutely, Lauren Mills. You can make 1,000 with 5 micros or 6,000 with 5 minis. The thing is, the question that you have to ask yourself when you come to these prop firms is, how much is your cap? What's your mental cap? How much could you lose? What are you okay with losing? I'm okay with losing $1,000 a day. I have no problem going to sleep, waking up, not getting depressed about it, nothing. $1,000, good. I'll take a loss at a G. But what comes with losing $1,000 at $1,000? How many minis does it take to lose a G? Because I don't like to play with micros. I actually dislike them. It's not enough. It's not fast enough for me. It doesn't move well enough for me. I only would want to trade it in RTH. Are you kidding me? In this slow Asian market, the Asians, man, they're so stingy. Like one mini, 50 points, $1,000. 50 freaking points. How long do you have to trust in the extended trading hours? How long do you have to sit in this market to make 50 freaking points? I'm not even there yet in this session. We're not even there yet. We haven't even made 50 points. You haven't made, for one mini, you haven't made $1,000. We haven't had $1,000 move yet. It's insane, right? Regular trading hours, we moved over 250 points plus regular trading hours. So that's the thing. It's just micros, trading micros at this time. No, you got to find your session too. How much are you wanting to make? If you're okay with this slow pace and you're like, I want to put on 5 micros, okay, make 38 points. Okay, I mean, 37.5 points on a 50K with 4 minis is $3,000 minus commission, roughly. Okay, get out the calculator if you don't believe me. Because 4 minis is $80. Okay, and that's 3,000 divided by 80. You're looking at 37.5 points. We haven't even made $3,000 yet with 4 minis. And that's all you could do in a 50K. And that's if you got in at this dang wick. And that's if you got out at this wick. And ain't nobody's going to be that perfect, let alone in a cash account that would never work, because there's not enough sales up there to get you out of your 4 minis on extended trading hours. Maybe 1, but not 4. You're waiting for the other 3 to be filled. Yes, so someone lost 3K on the wrong side of it at open. That's correct. Because somebody went in with size. And that's losses and winning. Yeah. We're only talking about the green side. At 705? Yeah, you're done for. I agree with that 100%. I'd rather be stuck in profit than stuck in loss. I agree. Absolutely. So that's where you have to come to an acceptance where you just need to get out of the trade. And that's why you have a trade plan. And then you obviously, when you put on a lot of size, you know, I like 10-point stop losses. And I like anywhere between 12.5 to 12.5 to 15-point TPs. Sometimes once in a blue moon, I'll adjust that stop loss lower than 10 points once in a blue moon, but I don't like practicing it. I like to move my stop loss closer to break even. You're stuck 1 micro at 700. Okay. I mean, 700? We got a gap down there at 700, but I'd try to exit it as soon as I possibly could. Yep. I like that. I like that style, Lauren. That's a trader right there. Lauren Mills is a trader. He's been around for a while. I think 6 years. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lauren. If I can remember properly, trading futures. You just dollar cost average into it by 1 more trade. VWAP is at a 711. And we're coming up to it. We haven't touched it quite yet, but get there. 4 years in futures. Okay. So, I mean, yeah, no, it's you look for that window to get out of that trade to recover your loss. I mean, 700, 719 times 2, so you're down 40 bucks roughly on 1 micro. I mean, a $40 loss and a bull flag. I would try to if this thing don't break VWAP, if it were my 1 micro, I would I would hope to see a VWAP break to go lower and this trend line here to stay at where it's at. If it breaks this trend line, I'd get out. 50 bucks is 50 bucks. I'm not interested in losing 50 bucks in a micro per se. Yes, absolutely. Now, the thing is that when you put on minis, you put on one mini for that long, okay? So what for 10 points for me, that's $200 one mini. And really ultimately with the size that I play and the points that I have, I can't even get out at break even as fast as the price moves around unless we're actually headed in the direction of break even. And that's also for everybody else. Like, you either decide to get out of the trade at break even or you hold until your stop loss. You can trail your stop loss behind it just so you can get out with a better price that you're losing money at, and it will take your stop loss before it even takes your TP or your trailed TP, just because you're in a trade and you're stuck. Like, if this thing is, say this thing is just going down, right? Going down, and you're long right here, and you're moving that that thing as it's rocking down, or you moving it up to try to take that stop loss back, or the TP, because you say, for instance, you're short down here. Okay, say you're short down here, right? And it obviously popped up. You're moving you're moving your stop loss from here down to catch it. And if this thing's still rolling and your TP where that short was here, sometimes it'll hit this before it hits your stop. Like, I've seen it. It's crazy. Long story short, it's nuts, because like, I've followed up prices on the opposite end of the direction. I'm trying to get out of a trade and I don't want it to hit my stop loss, but it does before it hits the TP that I put right behind the price. I'm not gonna lie, I remember John's trade plan. I heard about it this morning too. I read it too on Discord. I heard about it. I saw it on the chart. In fact, I started even looking at it for my trade plan as well. And what happened? We went up to 51st, 61st, and then we came down. But to take the trade, I wouldn't take it while these candles are blowing green. I know he probably took it the night, but I think he even took it the night before, or last night after he got off the call. And actually, Lauren, not to be rude or anything, but you guys cut out. You guys stopped talking, and everybody was like, "Well, we can't hear you." Yeah, he held all night, and then it just opened up and launched to 60. Took his stop loss, and that puts a person on tilt too. That puts somebody on tilt so bad that you can't even, like, you're like, oh my goodness, it went the direction I wanted it to go, but no. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that will tilt you. So you need to know your tilt buttons as a trader. 100%. But hey, look, if you all enjoyed the stream, please check out the affiliates that we got: Lucid, ETL, Apex, MFF, Blue Sky. Check out the Macdicator if you're interested in the Macdicator. I know that probably half of you guys are all from NQ, but I'm trying to develop a script. And if you are new to the stream, welcome. Thank you for joining me tonight. If you want to donate directly to the channel, TWB, go ahead and type PayPal in the chat. You know, again, I really appreciate you all joining me tonight, listening to me chat, hanging out. Hope you guys learned something. Hope you guys are able to kind of take take your thought process to the market a little different moving forward. Love to see you again tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning I will be on the NQ trading as well, live. I'll set that scheduled right after I get off here. But again, thank you so much. I hope you all have a great evening. This scene is supposed to send you right back to the NQ, so if you hang tight, watch my closing outro, and then you'll be back on the Bookmap NQ if you guys are all familiar. So much appreciated. I'm out.
Beats on the vibe. TWB, we locked in.
Yeah, charts run deep when the lights go low. Alex on stream, letting all of it show. No hype, no cap, just the honest flow. We don't guess here, we just let it go. Watching Bookmap like it's painting truth. Every level tell a story, every flash got proof. I've seen traders break down trying to chase that move, but we sit still even when the price gets loose. You see red, you panic, we see red, we wait. Discipline the difference between love and hate. It's not just lines, it's the way you breathe. TWB taught me how to trade and lead. Think with Bookmaps, don't just feel. Most want thrills, but this game's too real. One clean setup, that's the deal. This ain't about luck, it's how you heal. Mind sharp, wrist light, wrist tight. Streaming live, but my head's on right. Let the world rush, I stay calm. Found my edge in the quiet, not the storm. Sometimes I stare at the chart for an hour straight. No trade, no stress, just protecting fate. Most lose fast, trying to move like greats, but greatness waits, that's the part they fake. Seen people blow bags off a single loss. Ego loud when you don't know the cost. Alex talking, I just take the notes. Every word hit different when your soul's that close. I don't need hype, I just need that zone. I don't need signals, I can see it on my own. Flow with the tape, heart on chill. Master the mind, that's the real skill. Think with Bookmaps, feel that pace. TWB fam, we don't chase. Price don't lie, you just gotta see that patience is profit eventually. Protect that peace, don't trade to impress. Most just flex, but they trade in stress. This stream ain't noise, it's growth in view. We study the market and ourselves too. Yeah, think with Bookmaps, feel that pace. TWB fam, we don't chase. Price don't lie, you just gotta see that patience is profit eventually. Protect that peace, don't trade to impress. Most just flex, but they trade in stress. This stream ain't noise, it's growth in view. We study the market and ourselves too.